So I've been checking out Universal Audio's Luna now for the last few months, and I find myself using it more and more. In fact, recently they released some new updates and some features that make it even better, and it's quickly becoming my #1 DAW for all my recording and my mixing. So today I thought I'd share the top 10 things I like about using Luna, and we talk a little bit about why I keep choosing Luna over the other DAW that I've been using for the last 5 years. Alright, so let's jump right into the first reason why I like using Luna, and that's kind of just the visual aesthetic and vibe of the software. I feel like they're really trying to replicate a recording studio and with hardware and kind of put that on your screen. So if we take a look at the mixer view here, you can see down here we kind of have a gradient on these different channels. It looks like maybe metal that would be on the console. The knobs, the buttons, the faders, they look kind of like real hardware. If we come up here, the play button, stop, record, all those things, just the design of them looks like what you'd find on a tape machine transport. Now, I also use Studio One, and it has all these things as well, but it's much more of a modern, flat design, which looks really cool. It's really clean, but I kind of enjoy this kind of visual aesthetic. And that's kind of Universal Audio's thing in general, right? With their plugins, they look like hardware. They're supposed to act and sound like the actual hardware. They make hardware, the LA2A and the 1176, and I just feel like they've taken those kinds of ideas and brought them here and tried to put them on the screen. Now, even more so than the visual aesthetic of everything, I feel like they've also tried to work in some of that recording studio hardware kind of thing with the signal flow and the workflow, especially while you're mixing. Again, if we take a look at the mixer window here, it's kind of set up as if you were mixing off of tape machines. So we have our tape extension right here. So you can set up different tape styles, tape machines right here. It's like you're playing your tracks back off of the tape machine, and then that would go into your recording console, your mixing console. And right here, this is where that would be. You would have your API console extensions right here. I'm still just using the free version of Luna, so I don't have that. But you could use that as an API console to do all your EQing, compression, that kind of thing. And then you would patch in your outboard gear, your outboard EQs, your outboard compressors and stuff, and your inserts, just like a studio. And then you have your sends here, and those would go to your delays, your reverbs, all those things. And then, of course, you'd have your outputs to your buses and your main speakers. So it's kind of got that signal flow of an actual recording studio. Now, obviously, Pro Tools, Studio One, all the other DAWs out there, they have inserts, they have sends, they have faders, they have buses, they have play buttons, stop buttons. But I just feel like with Luna, they've been a little bit more intentional in trying to recreate that recording studio with hardware kind of feel and vibe, and I just kind of really enjoy that. All right, so reason number 2 why I like using Luna is I have all these tools available to me on the screen, and I don't have to dive deep into menus and all that kind of stuff, but I can also hide and show them as I need them. So I know that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's dive in and I'll show you what I mean. So right here we have a tracking session going on, and we have all these tools, which is great, but I'm on a 16-inch MacBook Pro screen and it gets a little crowded, but maybe I don't need all these tools. So I can easily hide away the ones I don't need. So right here, I can easily hide this browser window. We have this focus channel strip, which is great because as you click through these, it changes to that channel. So you can switch plugins, volumes, solo, mute, all those things from right here without having to go back to the mixer window. But maybe I don't need that for what I'm doing right now. So I can click right here and I can hide that. We have this info down here as far as sample rate, buffer size. I usually don't need that once I get started with my session, so we can easily hide that as well. And then we have our monitor section over here. And so maybe I'm editing my tracks. I don't really need to see my levels right now. I'd rather have the screen real estate, so I can hide that as well. We have this line up here. This is our workflow for recording. Sometimes I use this for pre and post roll stuff, but we also have MIDI, we have editing, and we have mixing workflows. But again, maybe I don't need that right here, so I can hide that. We have our lanes right here. So maybe I don't need all of those. I can hide what I don't need. I don't need to see minutes and seconds. I don't need to see samples. I'm using the same tempo throughout the song, so I can hide that. Same time signature throughout the song, so I can hide that. I probably want to have my markers available to me. I like using markers. And so there we go. So now we have a lot cleaner screen with a lot more real estate, especially on a smaller screen like that. But if I ever need to get back to my browser, I can always just open it up real easily, do what I need to do, and then hide that. If I need that focus channel strip, I can just open that up, do the things I need to do with it, and I can just hide it again. So it's really quick and easy to show and hide just the tools you need, but it's great to have them all there and available on the screen when you want them. All right, so reason number 3 I like using Luna is the browser window. It is super powerful, makes session management and workflow so quick and easy. So if we dive in here, we can see here's our browser window. We kind of saw that a little bit in the last point, but it can do a ton of things for us. So obviously we have all of our tracks right here, and we can manage our tracks very effectively just from this window. So if we had like all of our drums right here, right now they're all orange, we could select them all, right click, and we could change them all to green if we want to. And then all of our tracks over here are green, but I like orange for drums, so we're gonna change that back. But we can manage those all very easily right there. Also, if for some reason I wanted my overheads up here, maybe before my kick in, this makes it really easy to just move that right there. And you can see that it actually moves the track up here as well. So as I move this around, it moves there, and it would move in the mixer window as well. So that's really handy and really easy for track management. We can also manage our groups down here as well. We can also hide and show tracks. So maybe I'm not using all of these tracks right now for my drums. We can do this. I can right click and I can choose hide selected tracks, and then they all go away. And then I can always just add them back in later as I need them. And that way I can save screen real estate when I'm not needing that. It's handy if you have a session template built out. Of course, we can add tracks right here from this window. We can search for tracks. So if we need like a vocal effects, we could do that right there. If we click on that, it takes us to that channel. Now, if we wanted to find our bass track, we could just type bass up here, click on that, and that's going to take us back up here as well. So we can clear that out and see all of our tracks again. So lots of cool things you can do just right here through tracks, but even more so than that, the plugin management from here is really great. So obviously we have all of our plugins here from our different manufacturers. The UAD, they like to put theirs first. We have these image icons so you can get a visual representation to help make it easier for you to find what you're looking for. If you don't like those, you can click on this button right here and just have the text list like that. We're gonna add those back in. Now, if we like those icons for our plugins and we have third-party plugins, we can add those as well. So let's open up Plugin Alliance and let's do, I don't know, this Focusrite channel right here. So let's add this right here. Just populate that real quick. And then click your 3 dots right here and choose Create Plugin Icon. And it'll do that for you right here. So now you have a visual representation. And of course, we can just remove this for now because we don't need that. But you can add those in as needed. Now, obviously, we can also save our plugins as favorites. So if we like this 175B compressor right here, we can do favorites right there. If we click our favorites up here, that'll list out all of our plugins that are marked as favorites, and we can unmark them as well. But one of the most powerful things about this is using the categories right here with a new feature at the time of this video, and that is the plugin manager. Here's how I'm starting to use it. So we have our categories here. If we click on guitar and bass, that's going to show us plugins that are marked as guitar and bass categories. However, currently, my Neural DSP plugins, my amp sims, are not here, and I want those to show here. So what we want to do is click on these 3 dots right here. That's going to open up this settings menu. Click in here in our plugin manager and start typing Neural DSP. And what I want to do is add categories to these. And we're just going to choose the Nolly X and the Tone King, because I use those a lot, but I don't use my Fort and Cali suite as much, so I'm not going to add that one. We come back here, if we click off and click back in, now you can see my Neural DSP plugins are here, and I'm using those as my favorites. You can actually save favorites of this category if you want to, but I feel like this is enough for me, and if I ever want to use that Fort and Cali suite, you know, I can always just do the search right here, and it's going to pop up for me real quick. So I don't feel like I need to save that in that category. So that's how I'm using categories at this moment. Now from our browser window, we can also manage our presets. So obviously we have presets from Universal Audio plugins right here by default. But as a fairly new feature, we have these user presets that we can set up. And I've started setting up some of mine. And what's great about this is you can add your own folders under user. So I have tracking presets I'm going to set up. I have mixing presets I'm going to set up. And you can actually set up folders under these as well if you want to. Just call it test for now. And so I can have folders under folders, under folders, under folders. So I can organize this in any way that I want to and whatever makes sense for me. And I can always just remove that folder as well. So we're going to delete that. And as you start to create presets, which we'll see here in just a little bit, you can move these around just by dragging and dropping. So it makes it super easy to manage as well. Of course, you can favorite and all those things. So lots of things going on within the browser. And like I said, you can really speed up your workflow and your session management and do lots of great things just within this one window. It's really powerful. Okay, so reason number 4 why I like using Luna is presets. And this is actually a fairly new feature at the time of this video. Let's dive in. And just a moment ago, we talked about presets as far as managing them over here. But let's create one real quick here first. Choose audio. We'll just call this, e-guitar for electric guitar. Hit OK. And then we're going to just bring this up here, make this our first channel, and so we can see it real well. Now, what we want to do is we're just going to add our plugin. So when I'm tracking guitar, let's say I want to use the Dream 65. That's one I use a lot. When I get started, I could choose my preset right here. I usually kind of just start with this one, so that's fine right there. Okay, and so let's add a couple more plugins that I like to use. First of all, let's try the Lindell 80 right here. I like using that. But maybe I don't want that on while I'm actually tracking because it might create a little extra latency that I don't want to deal with right now. But we'll disable that, and then I can easily turn it on when I'm ready for it. Another thing we could do is set up our sends right here. So if I have this right here and I want to send it off to the guitar delay, because a lot of times I use guitar delay, and then maybe I don't want that on right away, so I can just choose disable right there. And now I have all of my settings for tracking guitar. And so I just come down here, right click and save as preset. There's actually multiple ways to do that, but let's just call this, we'll call it country electric guitar, and I'll hit save. Like that. We'll come over to our presets. You'll see country electric guitar right here. And again, this is one I'm going to use for tracking. So I'm going to drag that into my tracking folder. And that way, whenever I want to track electric guitar, let's go ahead and just delete this one right here. Pretend this isn't here, like so. If I want to create a new guitar track, just come right here and I can actually just drop it right in here, like so. And then I could name it like that. And it has all my plugins, my settings, everything I like to use ready to go. So I can do this for bass also. So if I want to start tracking bass next, I can just drop that in right there. And it's got my amp sim I like to use already on there. And it's got my other EQs and compressors I like to use. All those things are already built in, super handy. Now you can actually get pretty complicated with this and set up whole routing systems and virtual instrument outputs and all that kind of stuff and just save it as preset. So again, this can really speed up your workflow. Hey there, just wanted to jump in real quick and say if you're finding this video helpful, please give it a like and a subscribe so you can get more helpful videos just like this one. And if the recordings of your songs aren't sounding as good as you would like them to, jump down to the description box down below and grab my free guide, 7 Recording Secrets to Pro Sounding Songs. These are things that the pros use all the time. You can start using them today in your home studio without buying any gear, and they're going to help improve the recording quality of your songs so they sound more professional. So if you kind of hit a roadblock and you just can't quite get your songs to sound the way you'd like them to, go grab that guide. Give those things a try. All right, back to the video. Okay, reason number 5 I like using Luna is that it makes editing timing and fixing timing really easy and quick. So we're in our timeline view here, and we have this acoustic guitar part that's been tracked, and let's say we need to fix some timing things, tighten it up a little bit. So it's really easy to do. So first thing we need to do is come to our track right here, on this view, click clips, and we need to switch that to warps. And you can see as soon as we do that, we get all these little markers, and that's where Luna sees transients within our recording, and they're already there. So you could easily just fix stuff. So if there's like a thing you needed to do just a little bit, maybe lock to the grid, you could just drag it over like that and fix that. Turn snap off. You can just drag it and get it really precise where you want it. So let's undo that. Let's say we want to quantize this. So we select our region here, hit the Q button, and now we have our quantize window right here. And we can select how much we want to quantize. So we can do it by half notes right there. We can do it by quarter notes. You can see it keeps adding lines as we do this. We'll zoom out just a hair. You can do by eighth notes like so. This is an eighth note part essentially, so I wouldn't want to go any more than that. But you can also do things like you can choose the strength, so you can see those moving just a little bit. So 100 is going to lock it to the grid. A lot of times I'll be around 50, and what that does, that just kind of splits the difference of where it was and where the grid is, and just kind of takes it halfway there, right? Kind of keep a bit of that feel in it without getting too locked to the grid. You can add swing to it if you want to. Lots of great options right here just from this little window, and then you can always just turn it off. If you don't like it, you just turn it off. But let's turn that back on real quick. And then when you're done, you come over here and you change it back from warps to clips, and they go away, and all your fixes are still there. Lots of great options, and makes it super easy for fixing or adjusting timing. All right, reason number 6 I like using Luna is bookmarks. So what are bookmarks? So basically bookmarks are snapshots of your session at a certain time. So if we jump in here real quick in this session, if you want to save a bookmark, you can come up here to the file and save bookmark right there. I just do Command S. And then you give it a name. And then what I like is you can leave notes. So you can tell yourself, your future self, where you're at, what you were working on, what was there. So we're going to cancel that for now. If you want to view your bookmarks, you can come up here and do it, and view versions and bookmarks right here. And you can see that this session, I put some bookmarks in here. So as I got done with guitar 1 right there. And before I moved on to guitar 2, I saved a bookmark so I could get back to that if I wanted to. And then I did guitar 2. And then I was ready for bass and all those kinds of things. As my session progressed, I saved those, and I can always go back if I mess something up or do something dumb. I really like this for like when I do, right before I do a bunch of editing on something, I'll definitely save a bookmark for that. Now I used to do this in other DAWs, but you had to do like save as, and it would create a duplicate of the session, and you end up with a bunch of duplicates of the session on your hard drive, and you have to like name them creatively so you know what they are and what they're about. This, in my opinion, is a much more elegant and clean solution. You don't end up with a bunch of sessions on your hard drive. It's all still within the one session. All right, reason number 7 I like using Luna is the spill feature. I know a lot of other DAWs have this, but not all of them do. So spill, if you haven't used spill before, basically on your bus channels right here, you see this little button says spill. If you click that, what it does is it shows you all of the channels, all the tracks here that have the output or ascend assigned to that bus, and it gets rid of everything else. So all these are just my drum tracks that are assigned to this drum bus, and that allows me to just focus on those tracks. If we click it again, all the other tracks come back. A great example of this is like on my acoustic guitar right here. If I click spill on this bus, now just those acoustic guitars show up, and I can see how the pans are related to each other or levels. I can adjust some things like that. If I had sends right here, I could tweak the sends and get those balanced out just right. And then I can always click spill again, and that way I can get all my tracks back. Another great way to use this is if you have something like this vocal effects right here, but maybe a bunch of tracks and you can't remember exactly all the tracks that are being sent to that, you could just click spill here and see instantly all the tracks that are going to that bus. And so right here we just have the vocal final, but if I had harmonies or background vocals or anything like that, and I was sending those to this delay or this reverb or whatever it is that's on this bus, those would show up as well. And then of course I could tweak the send levels and all those kinds of things, and then we could always just go back to all of our channels again and start mixing again in this full view. So that spill feature is super handy for just being able to focus in on a few tracks or to find out what is feeding to where. Okay, reason number 8 why I like using Luna is that it's free. Now, of course, I like using great software that doesn't cost me anything, but that's not the real reason why. I pay for my Studio One, I pay for my plugins, so that's not really a big deal. But the fact that I really like Luna and think it's a great recording software, and that it's free means I can easily recommend it to maybe someone who's just getting started, or maybe someone who is on a tight budget. And they have an option to go ahead and get started with recording and mixing their own songs without having to put out a bunch of money for it. Now, the one kind of downfall with a free version of Luna is it doesn't really come with many plugins. If you do something like Studio One, it costs money, but you get a bunch of great plugins right out of the gate. But you don't really get that with the free version of Luna. You could get the Pro bundle. It's a little expensive, but you could do that. But the other option is if you're just getting started with recording and you still need an audio interface, you could get a great budget interface like the Universal Audio Vault 2. And when you get that, you get the Essentials bundle of UA plugins for free, plus a bunch of other plugins, which actually a lot of those I use all the time anyways. So I did a full review of the Vault 2 and those plugins you get with it. Leave a link in the description down below for that. But that makes it so that you have an interface, you've got a bunch of great plugins, and you have your free recording software, and you're set up and ready to go. Now, the other thing is it used to be that you had to have an Apollo interface to use Luna, but that's not the case anymore. You can use any audio interface you want to. Also, it used to be that it was for Mac only, but they've released a Windows versions a while back, and so now everybody can use it, whether you're on Mac, whether you're on Windows, whether you use an Apollo, whether you use a Focusrite audio interface, whatever it is, it's open for everybody. So again, the fact that it's free and it's open to pretty much everybody makes it easy for me to recommend, and it makes it available for everybody to use. Okay, so reason number 9 why I like using Luna is that it comes with Shape for free, even with the free version. So Shape is a great sound library that you get automatically. If we come in here, you can see it comes with different drums. We have some like 8-bit drums. We have some EDM drum stuff right here. We've got Jazz Kit, Ocean Way drum kit, which sounds really good, by the way, and just some other drums. We have different kinds of percussion. So we've got, cowbells, and we got claps and stomps. We got egg shaker, glockenspiel, timpani, tambourine, cymbals. We have electric bass. We have acoustic bass. We have synth basses. We have all kinds of like synth pads, synth leads going on there. Keys, we have a really good, nice sounding piano. That Ravel right there is a nice sounding piano. Harpsichord, we got a soft piano there. Organs here, so if you need like a B3 kind of thing, you can kind of get that from here. If you need like a churchy pipe organ thing, you can do that as well. There's electric guitars, acoustic guitars. I honestly haven't tried those yet. I should do that. Strings right here. So you have cello and violin and different ensembles as well. Same with the horns. We got trumpets and horns and different ensembles there. Woodwinds, clarinets, flutes, and different ensembles there. Poly, we got all kinds of cool little polysynth things there, different effects right there, sequencers, all those kinds of things. And not only that, but you can stack those. You got all these different, you got 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and you can stack all this stuff. You have different delays and reverbs and dynamic stuff here you can choose as well. You got 2 of those effects channels. You can choose the attack, decay, release, cut off, all those things right there. Lots of stuff you can do in here, which is great. You could use these for, songwriting, or just if you don't have any great drum sounds yet, you can use these in here. You could use this for doing some, essential like movie score kind of stuff, some soundscapes kind of stuff. If you're writing a song and recording, say, I wonder what piano would sound like here. I wonder what strings would sound like here. Or, you a trumpet part for like a ska song, and you want to write it in there, and then you can send it off to somebody to play it, but at least they could hear what you want and those kinds of things. Shape is great for all those things. And again, it's free. All right, so reason number 10 why I like using Luna is they keep releasing new updates and features that are suggested by users, and they keep making it better and better. And it seems like they really want to know what people want next and really try to implement those things. So much so that if you look here at the top right-hand corner of Luna, they have a feedback button. And so you can report a bug, you can request a feature, provides them some feedback, attach files, those kinds of things. things. They also have areas on their forum where you can do that as well. And there's some discussion. So it seems like they really want to know what people want next or what's missing from Luna. Now, I also know that there are some features out there that people have been requesting since the very beginning, and they have not been put in yet. Why is that? I have no idea. It could be technical, could be business reasons. Maybe they just figure that other features are a higher priority for more people. Who knows, right? But for the most part, they are adding in features that people want. In fact, the last couple of releases they've had with new updates are features that I was really waiting on. And in a lot of ways, this feels kind of like the early Studio One days. When I first started using Studio One, it wasn't what it is now, and they were always asking for suggestions as well, and kept adding new features. And now Studio One's like this huge program that does all kinds of things. Luna is still kind of fairly new, doesn't have everything in it yet, but it keeps getting better and better, and one day it'll probably be this full-blown application as well. But I do like that they seem to really want to know what people want next. All right, so let me know your thoughts on Luna in the comments down below. And if you're new to Luna and still kind of trying to figure it out, make sure you watch this video right here. Show you all the essential things you're going to need to record your songs in Luna. We set up a session, we record some tracks, we edit tracks, we mix our song, and we export it out so we can send to our friends or put up on Spotify. So if you're still kind of trying to figure things out, go watch this right here.